Chris Lee and Max Barr here to do power rankings for SEC Hoops. We are about a week in. We are excited. We have opinions. We're going to share those with you. I'm sure we'll get some disagreement here, so leave your feedback in the channel. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. A reminder, these are sponsored by BetOnline. The last of the major pro sports leagues is off and rolling. College basketball here as well. BetOnline remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, and NHL all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. At the BetOnline today, remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, we start at the bottom in our power rankings, and I think there was a debate between two teams here, probably. LSU at 14. LSU took a bad loss, and I'm going to go ahead and tease it. Vanderbilt at 13, just so we can discuss them both at once.
Okay.
I think Vanderbilt's loss to Presbyterian might have been a little worse than a loss to Nicholls State, but my goodness, if we're having that conversation in week one, you're not off to a good start. Where I think we differentiated a little bit is that Vanderbilt was without two starters in Vin Allen Lubin and Tyron Lawrence, who's a preseason second-team All-SEC player. So not a lot to be pleased with if you're those fan bases. LSU was behind all game, went ahead at the end, and then gave up a shot with 1 to 2 seconds left to lose that game to Nicholls. But anyway, yeah, both these teams starting off the season in places where you do not want to be, Max.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more optimism around Vandy just because of, like you said, some of the best players aren't there. So you have that optimism that insert them into the lineup and things will start looking better, as I think they will, because it's looking pretty poor right now. But we knew this about Vandy. We knew they were very top heavy. We said all offseason, we said, with that backcourt of Mannion and Lawrence, they can compete with anyone. Well, you cut that in half, in the better half, in my opinion, and that changes a lot of things. And then take out your two best front court players. So I'm not just park the brakes on the Vandy slander just because it's hard to really take away too much when you don't know what they're going to look like full strength. But LSU, yeah, out rebounded by Nicholls State is not going to cut it. I mean, you're down 20. You go down 20 to Nicholls State, and you're not going to win many of those games. I think this team really, really needed a waiver for their point guard transfer, Jalen Cook.
Yeah,
just needed it, and they don't have that, and it's showing. The offense looks very patchy. They don't have. I thought Will Baker was, maybe going to be a little bit better than I thought. Maybe not. Not really sure what I'm getting from this front court. It's just looking like much of the same from last year. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Matt McMahon did not set the world on fire with his first season. I think they went and got Jordan Wright, but I mean, they got some good transfers a year ago. I'm starting to have a few questions. It's very early, but it's not the way you want to start the season after a complete obliteration of, I think, Mississippi Valley State. Maybe that was some overconfidence. Maybe that will resolve in time. But boy, Max, you gave us a good segue to the next spot. Waivers. I present to you the Ole Miss Rebels, who would like a couple waivers of their. Boy, that is some ugly offense they are playing in Oxford so far. But again, we have a reason why. But yeah, if they don't get some guys cleared, then Chris Beard is going to have his work cut out.
Yeah, as the viewers know, I was very high on Ole Miss, much higher than most were. Even with the waivers out, I still liked them a good amount. I trusted Chris Beard. I still do. It's very early, and I think he's got a lot of things to correct. He's one of the best coaches in the country. But, man, Matt Morrell starting, 1 of 11 from 3 this year? That's not going to cut it. They've lost the rebounding battle in both games to very inferior opponents. And that's a little bit of like the give and take you get with Jamarian Sharp. You have that elite rim protection, but you don't really get a back to the basket post offense. and you don't really get much rebounding out of him either because he struggles to catch the ball. And he doesn't have this big strong base like a Kalkbrenner or someone does to be able to box out these big strong guys. He's very skinny and lengthy. So you get that rim protection, you lose the post scoring. I think this team is going to start to click a little bit better as TJ Caldwell starts playing more than Juju Murray. Have a bit of a taller lineup, help with the rebounding, help with the no middle defense. But yeah, man, this offense, outside of Flanagan, it is looking rough right now. Just get used to a dogfight every time you tune into Ole Miss. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, Flanagan had 29 his last
Career
time out,
high.
so he is adjusting well from transferring from Auburn. Okay, number 11, South Carolina. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. We broke down South Carolina for several minutes in our recap video that we also did on Tuesday. So Gamecock fans, if you want a little bit more on your team, you can go there. But I think the big takeaway, they had a couple layup games, which is we have already discussed. That's not a given in this league right now. But the Virginia Tech game, Mike Young is a really good offensive coach. I had questions that Carolina would be able to outscore a team like that, but this is a team with a lot of guys played a lot of ball, and Carolina's 3-0 after winning that game for its second win.
I mean, well, hey, put it this way. Preseason, I would group South Carolina and LSU pretty similarly down there at the bottom. Not right now, so that's just view it in terms of that, preseason to how it's looking now. South Carolina fans, you got a team. You know, the transfers are translating. Lamont Paris is looking like he's got these guys playing a South Carolina brand of basketball. BJ Mack's very physical. So, hey, don't take too much from it because the opponents have not been all too that great. Virginia Tech's supposed to have a bit of a down year. But, hey, much better situation than last year. Put it that way.
Virginia Tech probably an NIT type team
Yeah.
based on where they were picked preseason, but still a good one for a team that struggled a year ago and finished,
Yes.
I think, 200s in Ken Palm. So this is going to be progress so far.
We'll take it.
Okay. Another team that made progress, Georgia. Max, will be honest. After watching that Oregon game, I just thought, boy, this might be a team that really struggles. I thought even at home, Wake Forest would give Georgia some problems. I just didn't know if Georgia had enough scoring punch. And look, maybe it doesn't. 64-54 win over North Carolina Central last time out, although maybe that was just you got a big win. You've got a big game coming up against Miami, the letdown in between. But I was really pleased for Mike White's team that it beat Wake Forest. That's a win that it needed in November. And so the Bulldogs now improved to 2-1 after getting 2 wins since that Oregon loss.
Yeah, and you know what you have to remember is Oregon's a good team. They've been down the past a few years actually, ever since the Pritchard Duarte team left, but they're back. They got a great front court with Biddle and Dante. Got some good freshmen. So Oregon's a good team, and for Georgia to hang with them was, I know the spread was close, but hey, that was a decent result. For they got out rebounded a lot, but they showed we're not just going to get ran over. My problem with this Georgia team is still the rebounding.
Yeah.
They got out rebounded by NC Central, and if you watched that game, that NC Central Georgia game, you didn't just look at the box score. You really watched it. This team struggles, man. They struggle in the paint. NC Central was taking it to them a little bit with offensive rebounding. They had more offensive rebounds. And it's like I'm watching it and I'm like, man, like when you have Russell Chewa out there and you got Jalen Deloach and you have oversized guards with a 6'7" Melendez and stuff, I'm like, why is this team struggling to rebound against NC Central? So that's my only thing with this team. I think they'll figure out the scoring. Thomason had his 20-point game against Wake. They have some pop. Abdur Rahim looks like he's, really refined his shooting touch. So I'm not too worried about the offense. I'm worried about the rebounding. I don't know why this team isn't rebounding.
Yeah, seeing Thomason bounce back like that after a slow start was good to see. That gave me a little more hope for them. All right, now, Max, here's a team I don't know what to do with at the moment because a game and a half in, it's feeling really good about Missouri. Dennis Gates, we had our buddy Gabe DeArmond on the show last week to talk football, asked him a couple of basketball questions. He said they thought this team was better than last year's. I would pump the brake on that right now because boy, the scoring the last three halves of basketball just had not been there. And you know that is going to be Missouri's hallmark under Dennis Gates. A 68-50 win over SIU Edwardsville, and then a 70-55 point loss to Memphis, in which they got, let me look this up, they got outscored 44-22 at half. I trust Dennis Gates to do better than this, but we got some questions about this team 3 games in now.
Yeah, this is what I'll say. For Vandy, for Mizzou, for Kentucky, maybe a little bit of Mississippi State, just like don't go too hard with the reactions because they're missing some pieces and the rotation is getting kind of experimented with in these early games. No Vanover, John Tonje injury. You lose an a few NBA guys with with what they had on the offense last year. So it's like this team, yeah, I wouldn't have liked that second half against Memphis. Would like the offense to look a little bit better. I think Caleb Grill will start to get going a little bit. He's had a little bit of a shooting slump to start the season. He's a good shooter. Just give this team some time for some growing pains is all I'm going to say. They've got a test at Minnesota in the non-conference. Then in 2 weeks, they got a test at Pittsburgh. Let this rotation work itself out. Because right now it's a lot of last year's role players all just kind of clumped together, and they're all trying to figure out their role. So I kind of, as Blake would always say, he trusts Dennis Gates here, and I kind of do too. I mean, they looked good for that first half against Memphis. They just kind of had a bad half of basketball. So I'm not trying to react too much. I want to see how Tonje settles into the lineup. And I want to see what they look like once Vanover gets back in. But yes, a few questions here early.
All right, number 8, the Florida Gators, 1-1 so far. Took Virginia to the wire, and Charlotte got beat in that one. I think this is also a team without a major part 2. This is about where I had Florida preseason. I think they've got a chance to be one of the surprise teams of the league. And I don't know that I've seen anything so far to really move me off my preseason thoughts on the Gators, Max.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't have too much to add here. They don't have Zion Pullen, and he'll add something for sure. Veteran guard that has a good assist to turnover ratio that can shoot the rock, give these guards a little spell. I like the 2 big man punch with Samuel and Han Logton so far. They both look great. Hey, Virginia's a good team. Reese Beekman is one of the best defenders in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying in the country, Reese Beekman is one of the best guard defenders. So hey, you get a good test early, growing pains. I think Florida will be just fine.
Okay, we get to number 7. That's Alabama Crimson Tide. I think we might have had them higher in our preseason rankings. Could be wrong. Now, look, if you like offense, Nate Oates and those guys are the team you want to watch. They have scored over 100 their first 2 games. I think defense is a question that I know Blake has about them, which is a little reminiscent of A, what knocked them out of the tournament last year, I think, and B, what caused them to have a disappointing season 2 years ago when they could score, but they just didn't get it done on that end and took a first-run exit. I'm always going to ride with Nate Oates. I trust him, but that's just the thing to watch. This is going to be a team that I think is going to play a lot of high-scoring games this year.
Yeah, if you watched that Indiana State game, Indiana State doesn't play front court players. They have they had a 6'10" freshman that got about 15, 20 minutes. But other than that, it's they play 5 6'4", 6'6" guards. Indiana State just does not have any rim protection, and it showed. I mean, Alabama just did whatever they wanted offensively. 2 inferior opponents. I'm not going to take too much away from it. The offense looks great. The defense looks like it has some questions, kind of what we thought coming into it. I'm just going to be waiting for that game at Ohio State in 2 weeks, about week and a half, because Ohio State, not too good. It should be a winnable game for Alabama, but the defense should be should be tested a little bit more. But I mean, you can't. It's hard to take too much away when they haven't played really anyone.
Number 6, Auburn. The Tigers really blew one to Baylor. That led most of the game. That would have been a great resume win, followed up with a solid win over Southeastern Louisiana, which is okay. I think You seeing them in some preseason brackets. Max, what do we make of the Tigers a couple of games in?
Similar to some other SEC teams, working the rotation out, experimenting with some different players. I'd like to see more Denver Jones and Baker Mazzara. I'm just going to keep saying it. Um, until the rotation gets evened out, you'll see some growing pains with this Auburn team. But with the experience and whatnot, and Aiden Holloway kind of coming on strong here early. He's not looking like a normal freshman. He looked good in that Baylor game. So yeah, I mean Auburn. We have them sixth, but they look really good to me. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, they're breaking a new point guard.
There's gonna be some growing pains.
They play Baylor. Baylor's always gonna just really put you to the test. I didn't have an issue. I mean, yes, you didn't like the way that game went down.
Right.
Did that change my opinion of Auburn and the kind of season it could have for the worse? No, it didn't.
I agree.
You're playing Baylor. So
Yep.
okay, now here's one where I might need to rethink it a little bit. You guys have got them higher than I do, and you might be right. That's Mississippi State at 5. And here's the reason why. Toulouse Smith is not going to be back for a while. And this is the team that I don't remember if they were dead last in the country in three-point shooting last year, but they were really close if they weren't. And they bring back the same guys. I'm just like, we kind of know what these guys can do. Well, no, they've gone out and they've hit what I think at least 10 3-pointers in the first 2 games, which has been a while since State has done that. This is an interesting team. It's an old team. And again, it does not have its best guy. And maybe it's just a small sample size fluke, but this is the team that has shown a far different level that's outside shooting than we've been used to.
I'm hoping it's not a fluke because I really like this team. I think similar to Virginia Tech, Arizona State is having a little bit of a down year. I don't think they're going to make the tournament, but still, I love teams. I think there's 2 ways that like really dominant teams win if you dumb it down, and that's by outrunning the other team. Basically, you score more than the other team's going to score. The offense is too good. Teams like Alabama, teams like Missouri last year, they're just going to outrun you. But then there's teams that like suffocate you, like a Tennessee, like a Mississippi State. They just don't give you any space. And man, if you were watching that Arizona State game with that Barstool broadcast, and these guys were just amazed by how big Mississippi State is. They were like, these guys are monsters. I just think they're going to have that bully advantage, that physical advantage in every single game they play. Every game. They are never going to get bullied. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and then Jimmy Bell Jr.'s bullying guys. He's like the second or third string center. They brought
Started
him
last
into,
night or last game, but yeah.
you know, so you're only going to get better. Only going to get better for this Mississippi State team. Trey Ford looks great.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing them. All right, I think the top 4. I don't have all our ballots in front of me, but I have a feeling we're all close on agreement. And this one, Kentucky number 4. We may look back in the season and say this was a couple spots too low because they've looked tremendous, which you don't necessarily. I mean, in terms of talent, Kentucky's got it, but these guys, most of them hadn't played college basketball before. Kentucky, I mean, always got some talent, but the maturity with which these guys have played early and the way they defended is what's really been impressive, I think, Max.
Hard to take too much of a conclusion away from this team when they don't have 3 7-footers, and plus then a Duthiero in the last game. So, I mean, yeah, the talent's there. The players that are playing look good. And Reeves hasn't missed a step. Reed Shepard, very good. He's going to be on the floor for 20 plus minutes every game. So yeah, I mean, big test tonight. Big test tonight
Yeah.
against Kansas. And Kansas has got a front court, so Trey Mitchell's going to be tested. But yeah, I mean, so far so good.
Texas A&M at 3. A&M went and got a big win at Ohio State. It was my preseason pick. Again, I would switch that now to Tennessee based on Tennessee's health, but that's a glimpse of what I thought of the Aggies preseason, and really nothing there to make me want to downgrade them at this point.
Yeah, yeah, nothing that makes me say, oh wow, they're better than Tennessee and they should be number 1, but nothing really to make me knock them back. They got a good win on the road behind the big 3, but hey, can't have everything. So yeah, solid so far for the Aggies.
Yeah, Henry Coleman III had a really big game,
Yep.
20-11 in that win at Ohio State, and boy, you get that kind of production. These guys are maybe going to be top 10 in the country. Good. Okay,
Mhm.
number 2, Arkansas. Boy, Eric Musselman ripped his team after Monday night. We we went into some detail on that. He gave double Fs and triple Fs and no grades, and apparently no grade is worse than a triple F or whatever he gave. But I have a feeling Eric Musselman will get the message through to his kids, and it's a deep and it's a talented team, and it's one I think we think could be in a Final Four team by the end of the season. But with Eric Musselman, the way it's worked since he's been in Fayetteville, they sometimes will have their bumps in November, December, and maybe even take a week or two in the SEC to get it going. But I would not bet against these guys with the talent, but it may take a little bit of time, and certainly it did last time out.
Yeah, this is more of a talent and trusting Muss kind of position here at 2 rather than what the team has showed on the court. A little bit of a sloppy game last night against Old Dominion. A lot of things to clean up, and Musselman was not shy about it. So that's why I don't have any worry about this team. I mean, the talent's there, the depth is there. You know, give them a few weeks and they'll get it going.
Number 1, Tennessee. The Vols have been really impressive in 2 games. The opener was no contest, and then they go to Wisconsin, not an easy place to win. Tennessee wins that by 10. Dalton Connect has been exactly what this team needed. Zakai Ziegler has been healthy. I think we have all said it at various times. We may not have all said it on the air, but I think Tennessee is national title good. I know Blake agrees with me, and I'm pretty sure you do too.
Yeah, this I could just go on and on about this team. I really like them. I think they're top 3 in the country. Um, you just went into the Kohl Center with a bunch of new pieces against a team that has great continuity from last year. That's very well coached. Good. They play good defense, and you just dropped 80 on them. I mean, this team used to be able to only win one way. It would grind you down defensively. I mean, we know that. This team can win any which way you want now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the transfers are great. What can't you like about this team right now?
Yeah. We'll be talking about the Vols a lot this year. I have a feeling we'll be talking about all these teams. We're doing SEC basketball content, even a lot of it during football season. So, and of course, we're doing football too. So, best way to get that, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too. That helps our analytics, and tell a friend. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Thank you for watching Southeastern 14 presented by Bet Online.